Hey guys, so the Toronto Real Estate Board stats are out and we're going to review what happened in March 2023. If you're a buyer, investor, or seller in the marketplace right now, this is going to be, or you're interested in real estate in general, this is going to be the video for you because you're going to see how interesting March was and how it compared to the month of February, how it compared to last year, and where we are on a macro scheme of things. This is the video for you guys. Let's get into it. Hey guys, this is Danilo from the King Realty Group. We've been in business for many years and we've helped hundreds of people buy and sell homes here in the GTA and surrounding markets. We know exactly what's going on in our marketplace. We have a pulse on it because we have buyers and sellers that are in the marketplace right now, so we know exactly what's going on. We're probably a few months ahead of the news report, so if you want to know what's going on in the marketplace, this is the video for you. You better be paying attention to this. Now, we actually do review a couple of things here on our videos. One is a chart that kind of gives us a picture of what's been going on in the marketplace since 2018, and we're going to see specifically what's happened in the last few months, and I'm going to paint a picture of you what's going on in the last 2 years. It's going to be very interesting for you to see this. We're also taking a look at our month-over-month changes, which gives us an idea of what's going on in the short term. And we're also going to take a look at our year-over-year prices and average sales volume, etc. So you have a better idea on kind of like a macro scheme of things and how things are going. Okay, and let's get into it, guys. Let's start off with our chart. Okay, guys, so this is our average price graph, and it gives us some information all the way back from December 2018. We're going to focus a little bit closer to today's date, though, and you notice that over the last month, we've had a bit of an increase in price. Actually, in general, over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, we've had kind of like a stable price. Now, this little dip here is just the holiday months. Typically November, December, January, we see some decreased sales volume and also average price. So this is normal. However, we've had kind of like a little gradual increase over the last 8 months. Very different picture from the previous 5 months before that, which saw significant drops in value in 2022. Now, the nice thing here is the fact that we're kind of right back in to where we were in years past. We've almost sliced out pretty much year 2022. And let me show you what I mean by that. You notice that from 2018, we've had a gradual increase in price. Hasn't been too steep of increases or declines, so no steep ups and downs. We've been pretty steady. Only in 2022, followed by a very steep decline in price. And what I'm saying is that if we do an imaginary line from 2021 into 2023, you notice that we're kind of in line where we were heading, since the last few years. We basically cut out 2022 here. And this is what I wanted to show you when it comes to our last 2 years, to paint a picture that you can see visually to let you know what's going on with prices at the moment. All right, guys, let's head over to our month-to-month and take a look at what we have going on over there. Okay, so what we're looking at here is our month-over-month changes. So this is just interesting to take a look at for a number of reasons, just to kind of see and gauge where we're at month-over-month. Take a look if there's been any significant changes in any direction. And, I would say that March was not as eventful as it was in February. One thing that I will note, though, is sales. Sales has climbed quite a bit. So we have a lot more demand in the marketplace right now from the buyer side. And it's becoming very apparent that the buyer is more confident. Buyer behavior is showing us that they're getting out there and putting offers in, and we're experiencing from the buyer side here, running into buyer competition, multiple offers, and on the seller side, kind of an opportunity here because there's a stronger buyer demand and we're seeing people getting back into the marketplace. We're gonna discuss why in a little bit, but there's some specific reasons why. So why am I talking about sales volume? Well, we noticed that from February compared to January, we've had almost like 50% plus or more increase in sales volume, and we have about like 40% increase in sales volume from February to March. So the sales volume has continued to increase, and we're going to take a look at our year over year, and I'm going to show you that we do have a lot more sales than we did in previous months, and that's going to be very interesting to see how that kind of goes. On the price side, though, we had a really strong like January to February, but when we were moving from February to March, really only detached and semis had about a 2% increase, while townhomes and condos were a little bit flat, okay? And also, like on an average, when you include all property types, we're up only about 1.2%. Let's take a look at the individual property types, though. So detached homes had 3,000 sales, and the average price was 1.468. We had 556 sales on the semi-detached side, and our price was 1.087. Townhouses, we had 1,167 sales, and our average price around 935. Condos, 2,121 sales, average price around $703,000. And this is kind of what's going on a month-to-month basis. The interesting piece about it was just how sales volume has gone up, and have a very small increase in low-rise homes, detached and semis as well. Okay guys, so before we get into our year-over-year numbers, I just wanted to throw in a little quick note in here. So buyer behavior has changed, buyer demand has changed, and it has to do with interest rates. If you want to know more about that, stay tuned in this video. We're gonna go over the year-over-year, and then I'm gonna give you my tips for buyers, sellers, and investors, and you're gonna definitely want to stay around for those tips, okay? Especially if you're one of those people. Okay, so let's take a look at our year-over-year prices, guys. Let's start off with sales. So I talked about sales before and how, month over month, we've seen a pretty drastic increase in sales volume, and I'm seeing it here. This particular comparison doesn't really feel that way because last year was a very active time. Like the buyer demand was very strong. A lot of multiple offers were going on still in the month of March. And so 10,000 sales, almost 11,000 sales we had last year. I would say that that's above normal because typically we have around 8,000 sales in the month of March or around these months. This year we had 6,800 sales. Why that is significant is because the previous month, if you've been following my videos, in the previous months we've seen that sales volume has been pretty much at 50%. 50% compared to the year 2022 and 50% or less compared to like a normal month. And so now that we have 6,800 sales, I mean, that's a lot closer to what a normal month should be. We have a lot more sales volume, which means buyers are out there making offers and buying properties. And if you're a seller, this might be a window or an opportunity for you to actually sell your property and maybe get a decent price for it, okay? So we'll talk a little bit more about sales here and the reason why buyers are back. Let's talk about average price here. So yeah, you see average price, we're quite a bit down from March 2022, and that makes sense to me because if you remember the chart we saw before, February was our peak price. March came down a bit, but it was still the second highest month, right? So if we're comparing last year to this year, we're definitely lower. And if I go scroll a little bit further down here, you're gonna see that in fact, that change in price over here is about 14.6% decrease in price. So I know that that was gonna be the case. I'm not surprised at that at all. And no one really should be surprised about that at all. One thing that I would warn you though is that news outlets, articles, media, etc., they're probably going to emphasize the decline in sales, the decline in price, because they're negatives. They're double-digit negative numbers. But I would say that that's expected because last year we had high average prices and obviously we're very different now. So that's the case. And let's take a look at the individual things here. So sales, it's 36.5% less than last year. However, I would say that 6,800 sales is still pretty strong and it's a lot closer to normal. When it comes to new listings, we have still a decrease in inventory right now. Another part of the reason why we're actually experiencing multiple offers right now for certain properties in certain areas. And active listings, about the same type of amount of properties on the marketplace. We've dropped 14.6% in price. And our average days on the market has been like this for a little while now. We're actually seeing around 30 days on the market. Actually, what's going to be interesting about this stat is that over the next few months, we might see that drop because I know that in the month of March, and we're already in the month of April right now, and I can tell you for sure, because we have active buyers right now, we keep running into multiple buyers. And properties are selling within a week, within 2 weeks, which is very different than 30 days. So we may see this average days on the market start to kind of come down if we continue down the same path. All right, guys? So yes, these are our year-over-year changes, and let's switch screen here real quick. And I'm gonna talk to you guys individually about my tips for you as a buyer, seller, investor in this marketplace. Before we do that though, let's talk about buyer behavior. Let's talk about the fact that there is multiple offers out there, and this might be more of a seller tip, so let's start there. Buyer confidence is definitely back, and why is that the case? Well, I actually made a video back in October talking about how we've had all this pent-up demand from the buyer side. I was talking about the fact that we've had almost 50% in sales volume for many months in a row, and that's not normal for the GTA because we have a lot of people who live here and there's still high demand for living in these parts of the world, GTA and surrounding areas. And I also said that we need a catalyst to bring the buyers back, and my guess was that the catalyst was going to be when interest rates stop going up. We've had 8 months, if I'm not mistaken, 8 to 9 months of interest rate increases since last year. But guess what? The last 2 Bank of Canada decisions resulted in no change. They didn't go up, they didn't go down. And so that stability, it's what's giving buyers specifically confidence to get back into this marketplace. Why is that the case? Well, this was the catalyst. They were looking for some stability. Now the mortgage market is not so fluctuating as much, and so people are seeing stable mortgage rates. Not just that, we also have a drop in fixed rates. Many people are going into 1, 2, or 3 year fixed rates that are hovering around 5%, whether it be a little bit more or a little bit less than 5%, really depending on your specific situation. That is giving a product to the consumer that is a lot more attractive than a 6% variable, which kind of still exists. But Bank of Canada has not made any decisions. Not to say that they're going to have more increases in the future. It's possible, okay, because that's all based on inflation. But right now we've had 2 decisions of no change, and this is why the buyers are back. They just were waiting for something, and now it is here. And so I see the buyer demand has gone up. I see it because of the sales volume that's gone up. I see it because the amount of multiple offers is going up. And for a seller, you know what's working again? Dropping your price super low and attracting buyers with a low price, setting an offer date, and you know the expectation that on that offer date you may actually get some offers more than once. I saw a townhouse with over 40 offers. I've seen a condo with over 15 offers. And I think that that's something that we as real estate agents are experiencing all over the GTA and surrounding areas. So for the sellers, you may not get a 2022 price, but if you were talking to me October, November, December of 2022, that was a little bit of a more tougher moment. Today is the moment that you're actually going to get a buyer to pay you a decent price for your house, and it actually might even be a little higher than October, November, December 2022. So if you're on the fence about making a sale, the window has returned, okay? And that, again, it opened up just as fast, the window, as it can close. Literally from 1 week to the next, all of a sudden the buyers may disappear. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. So on the seller side, guys, you still got to put some effort in your listing, okay? You're not just slapping the listing on the market with cell phone pictures. That's never gonna work properly. This is why us at the King Realty Group and all our clients, they get amazing results because we do all the little extra stuff. We do the staging, we do the prep work, whether that be painting or doing some cosmetic renovations, etc. Detailed videos, and by the way, if you want to take a look at our playlist, that are some of the videos that we made for our clients. You know, we've had thousands of views on a lot of them, one even over 20,000 views, and we go really deep with it. That makes the difference, guys, okay? Beautiful photos, VR tour, all those things have to happen, and you might get multiple offers, okay? Get in touch with us if you're looking for more information on that. On the buyer side, guys, a little bit of a different scenario here. I've been kind of, not screaming, but encouraging over the last few months to take a look at what's on the market. You know, I thought the prices were great. Interest rates were kind of high. If you were able to afford the monthly expense, it was a good time to get into the market end of the year, right? Because the prices are actually lower than today and you weren't having any competition. You were going in there with a financing condition, inspection condition, status certificate condition, and offers were getting accepted. And guess what? Now we have to prepare ourselves. So how do we win a multiple offer scenario? We get our ducks in a row. What do I mean? Our financing is set. We already know what our pre-approval is. We know what our max price is. We don't need a financing condition. If we're able to do an inspection prior to offering, perfect, if it makes sense. If it's a condo, we're reviewing the status certificate before we're making an offer, because if we are able to do a non-conditional offer, it's gonna be stronger than our competition, hopefully, okay? We're doing a strong deposit. We're figuring out what the situation is with the seller and giving them terms outside of price as much as possible in order to make our offer solid. And then we're picking price. Now that's the tricky one because we have to really be careful with this one. I'm only looking at sales over the last 30 days, 60 days, maybe 90 days, because that's the most relevant information. And I'm looking at sales in the area, things that are as most comparable, and I may go things that are not so comparable and I will adjust based on the differences. I may also be going back to 2021 because we know based on the chart we saw at the beginning, I'm not lying here, our 2023 price is not so different from 2021, so those price points might be relevant as well. All really depending on your scenario. Obviously, every little pocket of the GTA might be a bit different, okay? But hey, we just gotta be prepared and we gotta go out there, prepared. You know, I think there's still opportunities out there on the buyer side, and you gotta be a long-term buyer. You're not buying here to do a flip or do anything like that. You're buying because you can't be waiting for prices to drop. You can't be waiting, you know, for things to happen. You're in a position right now where you need to buy something and you need to, you know, get out of your rental situation. You need to move out of your house. Things are happening in your life. Get into a fixed rate, 1, 2, 3 year fixed. Make sure that the monthly expense is okay, and buy a property that you like and that you know you're gonna be there for a few years. It's very likely that in 2 or 3 years from now, you actually may have a lower expense because the interest rate should get better. You know, we're at high interest rate right now because of inflation. Okay, let's move on to our investors. A lot of great opportunities out there for investors, guys. We're still finding cash flowing properties. So what I'm talking about is that my rental income is higher than my expense. That includes my mortgage payment, my insurance payment, my property tax payment, and possibly some utilities if you're including those in your rental rates. We're still finding properties that are cash flowing. Now, I might be only cash flowing $200, $300, $400, whereas in the past, those numbers looked a lot better, but you're gonna win 2 times here, and let me explain why. Interest rates are a little bit better right now, so we're finding that our expenses lower than our rental rates. Rental rates are high, okay? We're gonna be able to get into a situation where we're buying a property at a lower price point, and this is where you're gonna win twice, okay? Values are gonna increase in the future, interest rates are gonna get lower in the future, okay? So your cash flow that's 200, 300, 400 bucks right now, in maybe 2-3 years from now, might look closer to $1,000, $800, $900, okay? You're gonna get better cash flow later when the interest rate goes down. And guess what happens when the interest rate goes down in general? Typically, values of properties go up as well. So double whammy there, you're gonna get better cash flow and your property is gonna appreciate in price a lot better in a few years when we see that interest rate change. That will happen. That will happen. So don't follow everyone else and do nothing and be scared of what's going on. You got to go against the grain. Get into a situation right now where you can at least cash flow. And let me tell you that for sure in the future, those numbers are going to look a lot better than today. Mark my words, guys, okay? Mark my words. The funny part is that about a few months back in October, I recorded a video. I said that the buyers are going to come back. There's pent-up demand. I said that the volume of sales is actually a lot lower than it usually is, and the GTA is a big place. It's a place that is in demand, and a lot of people like to live there. Buyers were just waiting for the catalyst, and my guess at that point in time was the catalyst was going to be when Bank of Canada stops increasing rates. And guess what happened? The buyers came back, and now we're in multiple offers again, and we probably should have bought a house back in November. But here we are today. There's still opportunities, guys. And if you want to know more information about your specific situation, I'd love to hear from you guys. Either DM us or put a comments below. I'll make sure to respond to you guys. There's also a Calendly link there if you want to book a Zoom call or a phone call. And if you want to talk to me about your specific situation, because I think I'll be able to provide you with a ton of value, whether we work with each other or not. I'm an open book. I'll tell you exactly what's going on in the marketplace and how you can benefit from it one way or another. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, seller, investor, or you've done it a million times, I'm sure I can offer some help. All right, guys, Danilo here from the King Realty Group. Thanks so much for hanging out with us at the end of this video. Subscribe, like, do all those things, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.